Hi.
Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our pre-match press conference to preview our game against Burnley. We'll start off with Ben at Sky.
Good afternoon, Sean. I just wonder, obviously, the manner of the points up at Newcastle, coming back, Dominic Calvert-Lewin ending his own little goal drought. Has it lifted the mood a little bit in the camp? Did it need lifting?
Yeah, I think so. I said afterwards, in the media that we took a knockdown at Bournemouth, a scruffy, awkward goal at the end of a game. And to respond to that with a decent, certainly a very strong second half. I thought first half Newcastle the better side, but then second half we came back into it and had a really strong sort of second half, particularly in the middle period of the second half when we certainly deserved the penalty we got and created another couple of really good chances.
And in terms of Dominic getting that goal, have you noticed a spring in his steps since? Can it kick-start?
Yeah, I mean, we all spoke about it, including here, that what kind of goal gets you going again? Now on this occasion it's a penalty, and we hope that is the catalyst that takes all that noise away and changes the storyline. And I was talking about, does one bounce in off your shin? Is there a perfect goal in there? But strikers just want to score goals, and Beto's got a couple, and now Dom's got one, so that's a good sign. And I think he worked very hard, actually. I think both of them did the other night. They both played hard, worked hard, and both looked sharp in their different styles, their different ways. So I'm very pleased for Dom. I thought he gave a real good shift when he came on, and obviously the penalty helps. But I thought he was brave to take it as well. It's not easy when you've not been scoring, and there's a bit of noise around you like there has been since I've been here, and he done well to put it in.
What about the performance? I know you always try and measure performance and what you see rather than the results in terms of points, but obviously you're in this long winless run despite picking up some points. Has it ever been difficult to keep that faith that performances will ultimately yield the points you need?
No, I don't think so, because I'm 300 odd games deep in the Premier League and another 100 or so outside of that, probably more than that actually. 500 odd games teaches you about the game. It's not about just the levels. And now don't get me wrong, you're still searching for the answer. Obviously we all are, and you never get there. The ongoing search is what you're hungry to keep going for, and I think I do, and I think my staff do. We only use it as a benchmark. We're not naive within performances. You can't just keep going, performances have been great and you don't win. Of course you can't. That's, we know that. But there has to be something reliable, a way of operating and measuring what's going on. And with all the challenges and all the noise and all the different things that go on at Everton Football Club since I got it and before I got it, the finance and all the likes of things, we want to have a benchmark and a kind of baseline, if you like, of what we judge. And there has to be something in there. It can't just be about winning and losing. There has to be a point where you go, right, okay, where are we at with the actual performance levels? And I spoke the other night about it. I don't think we've been as far as everyone thinks, but the winning bit does change. It changes the viewpoint. Of course it does. We all do it. And an average performance when you win becomes a very, very good performance. A very good performance when you lose becomes an average performance. That's just the way football is. That's the way that people view football. Our job in our professional side of it is to look beyond that. Our job is to measure it and the best we can. Stats, facts, analysis, and your eyes and your feel. Me and my staff have got thousands of games between us. But I can assure you and everyone else there's no naivety to it. We're not just going, oh, well, we played well again. Of course not. You take an ugly, horrible win. Sometimes you need that. Sometimes we might need that again. But ideally you do it by design. Ideally you do it by the team delivering, playing well, forcing results through their quality of performance. That's the ideal world. But now and again you have to measure it by different things. And if it's 3 wins on the trot and they're ugly, hard-fought wins, then you take it. But over a season's work and over years of playing in the game, usually when you're doing things right, you're playing well, that's what brings results, and that's what you want as a coach, manager, the staff, etc., and the players, of course.
You mentioned there the controllables and then also the noise. Can I ask you about the noise? Have you had any word yet on the ruling, the latest PSR ruling?
No, I made it clear the last time. It just came when it came, so that's all I know at the moment on that one.
It feels like the Premier League want to wait almost until after this weekend. It's such a huge game. Would you prefer, if a decision's been made, to know right now ahead of the Burnley game, or is it right that we wait until this potentially huge game in the relegation fight is played out?
Well, from the last time, I don't know what their thoughts on that were. We just got it when we got it. Whether they look at it differently, I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see with that. But the focus is beyond that anyway. We've had one knock. We know that. We got a little bit back. Who knows what comes next, because we weren't expecting the first one, how it transpired. So we'll have to wait and see. But, you know, we have to keep our eye on the realities, and the current realities. We are where we are on the table. We got a good point in the second half, from the second half performance, against Newcastle, a much more positive feel to the group. That'll be our focus going into the next game.
Just finish on the next game then. The win at Burnley was your last win in the Premier League, and it was a very dominant performance. I just wonder, how do you see them right now? They've had their own upturn in form. Are they perhaps a slightly more difficult or a different proposition going into this weekend?
No, I don't see them as much different in the sense they're giving their all. They've got a youthfulness. They've got energy about them. They have some quality. You know, they spent a lot of money on players to try and build on what they achieved last season in the Championship. Obviously, it's been a tough season, not just for them. It's been a tough season for us, for many others, because the Premier League is tough. Their challenge is what it is. You know, it's nothing to do with me now. I'm completely focused on what we do here. I'd like to think that's obvious. But yeah, you know, I always respect Burnley Football Club, always will do. But the fact is, when the whistle blows, there'll be no respect then. We've got to look after ourselves, and we've got to deliver a performance that can beat them.
Hi, Sean. There was a clip that's gone viral of an Argentine commentator bursting into song after Dominic scored the penalty. Where would that match with your celebrations on the touchline and internally?
Well, I think I just went, well done. So I'd say it's considerably different. I didn't know about that. That's maybe for someone else to answer to. Don't do much social media.
It's gone very popular amongst the Everton fans. So
Okay,
might be hearing
cool.
it. In
Well, I
Goodison
hope
Park.
he's shouting. If he's shouting for that goal, I hope he's shouting a lot more. So if he's shouting a lot more, that means we're scoring a lot more goals.
You mentioned it a little bit there, but you said you don't mind previously how the goals come about. It's just getting it over the line and having something to build on. Is that the same feeling after Tuesday?
Yeah, I mean, the point was similar. It's you know, you take goals, you've got to find goals. Everyone wants to score perfect goals and beautiful goals and lovely goals, of course. But what about ugly goals? What about set pieces, which we've been pretty strong on, to be fair, over the season? You know, how many different ways can you operate to find goals and to force goals? We force a lot of chances, but we haven't always forced the finish. So we'll take goals however they can come at the moment. You always would. But yeah, again, you want to design them if you can. But the other night we got them for a penalty. Should have had a penalty the week before. We didn't get it. We get this one and he puts it away. So whatever the way they come, we've got to make sure that we get them.
Speaking about doing it by design, is the design and focus now trying to find a way to find the back of the net through open play?
Yeah, I mean, that's always the design, you know, because set pieces really kind of, don't get me wrong, they're valid, but they kind of, hopefully anyway, they support the facts of your general play for obvious reasons, stats and facts, and the difference between scoring open play and scoring set piece goals. I think we've created enough to score goals. I think finding them final moments has been the question mark all season. It remains so at the minute. And working hard in both boxes, which we certainly did the other night at Newcastle. And we've got to continue that thought process. I reminded the players before the game at Newcastle, you know, if it was a strange game, it doesn't seem 2 minutes ago and we're winning 4 on the trot and we're scoring freely and keeping clean sheets. And then it just as if by magic you're on a tough run and everyone's making a noise about it. You know, that's football. That's life in football. Correcting that is the key. We're showed very strong signs at Newcastle the other night of correcting that. And we've got to continue with that thought process and that performance level.
Beat Burnley last time, but with less possession, fewer passes, fewer shots. Do you anticipate that they'll be different this time round?
Well, the stats suggest they've been going back to front quicker. More of a different kind of twist in the shape as well. We'll see. You know, my knowledge is pretty good of the stats and facts of the Premier League and what brings winning football. Not corrected it so far in this run, but I think I've got a depth of knowledge that suggests when we do things right and we play the way that I think we should be playing, then we can correct that. So that's what we're looking to do.
Thanks, Alan. We'll go to Mike at Reading.
Sean, the home form played a massive part in Everton's survival after you took over in January of last season. It was the same the season before. It hasn't happened to the same extent this season. Do you think the players at times are struggling to cope with the added expectation?
I would hope not. I mean, it's the fortress that it can become, the feel in the stadium, the noise from the fans is tremendous at times, you know. I think we've had too many get away from us this season rather than giving them away. I mean, we've early season, I thought we were performing as well as what I've seen us perform in my time here, but couldn't win a game because we weren't taking our chances. So we've got to keep the performance levels high, particularly when we playing at home, because I think the fans help with that. I mean, look, balancing out Everton Football Club in the bigger picture. When I got it, it was the away form. Everyone was saying it had been terrible for years. We've corrected that, and then they said the home form's been terrible. So balancing that up is always a work in progress. That's for sure. Since I've been at the club, it seems there was a lot of noise one way or the other behind that as well. The last couple of seasons, definitely, I think everyone would appreciate away from home. Our performance changed, and we've done pretty well with that. At home, we kind of lost our way early season, but not because of performance levels. I didn't personally feel, because we couldn't score the goals that needed to win a game. So I think correcting that. But no, I think there's an energy about playing at home. There certainly should be. I think there is with the team, there is with the fans. Absolutely always full of admiration for the fans here, because they support. They do. They travel in numbers all over the place, and they go to the home games in numbers. So it's our job and our responsibility to give them what they want, and that's winning football.
There was an energy and a purpose to Everton at Newcastle, particularly in the second half, and particularly after the triple substitution. Can the players use that and the coaching staff as a reference point and a blueprint for what's coming the next few games?
Well, I think there's the lads in midfield and Arnie and them are on Youssef as well, on Ramadan as well. So that's we've got to weigh up that and make sure they've got as much energy as they can, whilst respecting their faith, of course. That often offers the idea of change and freshness. We felt that was necessary with 3 in a week as well. And I think we've got some very good players in the squad. I've said that ever since I've been here. Andre's getting fitter and sharper. It's only really been a fitness issue with Andre. He's been so unlucky with sort of niggly calf injuries that have cost him, but he's looking stronger and fitter all the time. Jimmy gets a rest in the night, but came on and delivered a very strong performance as well. Youssef is young and he's learning, but he came on and worked for the team. These are people that are being effective. Youngie played really well. These are all ways that the team can operate. So if we need to make changes, we will do. We've still got a very competitive group at the full-back positions now that Shea's fit as well. Shea played 3 in a week, so we had to be careful with that one. That's obvious. So there's certainly nothing wrong with the competitive nature of the group. We've got injuries back as well, more or less. Arnie's on the grass with us. He's not quite fit yet, but he's on the grass with us. Amadou's had a few knocks, so he is tomorrow. Dobbo's making good progress now. So, there is a look of the group that is very competitive. We've got to pick the ones that are competitive on a match day that win games, and that's our job.
You spoke about performance before, and obviously results are what everybody sort of takes their views from. In terms of trying to give the players self-confidence and to boost those confidence levels, how difficult is that when the results aren't going your way and the results, what are the sort of
it's the nature of their careers. At the end of the day, you don't start a career in football just by being naturally mega confident. You build it, and you build it in pre-season. Everyone has a break in pre-season, whatever it may be, 6-7 weeks or whatever. You come back in, well, there's no automatic switch that says, right, you're naturally confident. It becomes from confidence in a thing. It comes from resilience. It comes from knowledge. It comes from know-how. It comes from your professionalism. And we don't lack any of that. So the group should be confident, but it's more the freedom that comes from confidence. When you're confident, you feel like you can make them decisions quicker. You feel like you're flowing. You feel like you're moving into shape quicker. All the nuances of the game, all the anticipation of the game. When you're confident, it just seems to come a bit quicker and a bit more at ease. And we're trying to work with the players to get them in that kind of thought process rather than that little bit of tightness that comes. And the other night was a good example. First half at Newcastle looked with just that bit of tightness and that little edge, and then second half looked freer and more open, and players making more free. I can't really describe it, but more zone thinking, as they call it. The psychologists call it more zone thinking, where you're just playing. You're just playing freely. You're making good decisions. You're moving around the pitch freely. You're anticipating the game freely, and that's the area. That's the zone you want our players in. And we're working very hard, and they are as well, to get in that zone and get in that good place. And I thought second half was a very strong sign of that. And look back to previous times when we were winning games, it looked like there was that bit of freedom there. And effective, as you rightly said, players affecting it who started and players affecting it coming from the bench, because it is a squad mentality that we've been trying to build here.
It was a similar stage last season, a little bit further on calendar-wise. when Everton went to Brighton and won 5-1 with a performance and a result that shocked everybody. I don't think it particularly shocked you, maybe the scoreline did, but have Everton, as this group, still got that performance level within them to sort of...
Yeah, I think, I mean, as recent weeks even, I thought it was a soft one at Bournemouth without being particularly poor, but it was soft. I thought we were very good at Man United. I thought we were very good against West Ham. They're very good performances. You score there, them types of performances. You score a goal and you win them games, and everyone thinks that you're back on blob and everyone's playing terrifically. And they were a good sort of measure of how that works. You've got to go and repeat. You've got to get back to them performance levels and then turn the screw. You've got to score goals. You've got to score, as I always say, in its basic form. You're scoring that and then stop it in that end. That will never change. They're the basic principles. So getting back to that is the key. And I think, as we were suggesting, the second half, it had that feel. That bit's hard to explain for people who, look at these press conferences. The feel of years of being in football, I've been in it all my life. You can sense and feel when it's right. And all the players were the same. Afterwards, some of the key players, some of the older players, they know on the pitch, and they were suggesting afterwards that's when we're right. That feeling, that's when we're right, because they can sense it on the pitch. Recreating and finding consistency in that feeling, of course, that's the next step of that. You can't just rely on a half of football. You've got to take it forwards, and that's what we're looking to do.
Thanks, Mike. Any further questions in the open section? George?
Excuse me.
I just want to ask about Andrew Gomes, because he was really assured when he came on the other night. A lot of fans were thinking that he could definitely start speaking and bring that higher level of technical ability that he has obviously from his time there from Barcelona. Just what can you bring to the midfield compared to the weekend, and is he available to start? Or is he match?
Yeah, he's a very assured footballer, that's for sure, and his ability, and he's a knowledgeable footballer and a very good pro, and he's been very unfortunate. I made it clear to him, because obviously there'd been an odd sort of period for him when he wasn't sure whether he's staying or going. I made it clear, as long as he's here, he'll be part of what I want to do and what we want to play and how we want to play. Keeping him fit has been a challenge, and he's been very frustrated by that. And then once he's been fit, kind of pushing hard enough to get him truly fit, whilst not breaking him, of course. That's been important. And I think he's getting there. I spoke to him just last week about wanting to get him more minutes, wanting to get him playing, possibly starting as well. And he feels good about himself. He said, yeah, I feel like I'm in a good place. So that's another person who we think can be very effective, because he's a very good player.
Okay, any further questions? No? Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.